Welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm with the Everton News 24/7 for Tuesday, the 19th of August. So, starting with today's headline, it comes from Mail Sport, and they've reported that we've shown interest in Jamie Vardy as a free agent, with Napoli, Celtic, and Rangers also showing interest for the 38-year-old. Before I give you my thoughts, we did an X poll earlier today, and of around 5,300 votes, 34% were in favour, 10% were unsure, and 56% were against. Now, listen, with Jamie Vardy, he'll bring you Premier League experience. He's a good goal scorer, we know that. He scored goals last season for Leicester, obviously in their pretty dire battle against relegation. 38 years old, I think that's the biggest stumbling block. He's going to be on relatively high wages for his age. I'd probably steer clear with this one and maybe look at a different profile of striker. If you're going to loan out Yusuf Chamiti, maybe try and find a different profile of striker similar to him that you can sort of mold into a player that you can with sell on value. With Jamie Vardy, it'd be a 1 year contract on relatively high wages, and he probably wouldn't play a lot of football. So I'd probably stay clear of this one. But obviously, as you've seen in the X poll, it's a relatively mixed bag in terms of if people would sign Jamie Vardy or not. But elsewhere, sticking with striker now, Ed Aarons, he's reported that Everton, West Ham, Lille, and Royal Antwerp are interested in Rem striker Adama Bojang. 21 years old, Gambian, expected to cost around 3 to 5 million euros. He actually played on loan over in Switzerland last season, playing a number of games over there. And both of his League Dirt appearances for Rem this season have actually started at right wing. So could that be an option potentially to as a player that's playing anywhere across the front three? I think that's something that we are looking at is a player that can play anywhere across that front three as a little bit of backup. So again, it's probably one to watch out, but I think it's a little bit of a risk considering he's 21. He's not scored a lot of goals. Obviously, he's not scored any goals this season in either of his appearances playing at right wing. So again, one to keep an eye on, but not too sure on that one. But elsewhere now, caught offside, they've reported that Everton, Wolves, Crystal Palace are among the clubs showing interest in Arsenal's Jakob Kivor. He's keen on a move to a team where he can play this summer, but his preference is to move abroad, away from Arsenal if he is to leave. Jakob Kivor, I think this one's another one that I'd potentially look at. He can play anywhere across that back line. He's not really got a game at Arsenal. I think if you look at the type of player that they've got, Saliba, Gabriel, and then also Calafiori coming in, I think that was maybe showing the writings on the wall for him in his Arsenal in an Arsenal shirt. So I'd definitely look at it. I think it's one that could walk into the side and really improve us. So I think it's one that I'd definitely be happy if it were to come off. But elsewhere, according to Team Talk, they've said that Everton are set to step up their pursuit of a right winger at the moment. With Tyler Dibbling remaining a target, but Southampton are holding out for a package of around 45 to 50 million pounds still. Tyler Dibbling does still remain very keen on the move to Everton, but Everton are only ready to return should Southampton lower their demands. Elsewhere, Lyon's Malik Fofana, Abdul Fatawu of Leicester, and Chelsea's Tyreek George, that's a new name that we've not really heard, are also all being considered for that position. Um, Listen, Malik Fofana, he's a Champions League winger, isn't he? I don't think he's going to come anywhere near Everton. We did bid a number of weeks ago, but again, it was probably a little bit of a blind bid. I don't think he is going to come anywhere near us. Fatawu of Leicester, I feel like they'll want too much. He had a pretty nasty ACL injury as well last season, so maybe one to steer clear of. And Tyreek George is relatively untested in the Premier League. He's had a few good appearances for Chelsea in the Europa Conference League, but that's all it really has been for him. So he's relatively untested, and I think Chelsea would command probably a quite a big fee for one of their Cobham academy graduates. So one maybe to stay clear of, but I think if you're going in for all in for a winger, Tyler Dibbling is probably your one. But as I said before, Everton are only ready to return to the table if Southampton lower those demands of a pretty excessive fee of 50 million pounds. But elsewhere, according to this report, they've also reported that we're looking to strengthen right back and midfield this summer. And this brings us on nicely to the report by the Boot Room. They've reported that Everton are ready to battle it out for Rico Lewis, the Manchester City right back, with Juventus and Bayern Munich also being the sides interested. City are reportedly ready to entertain offers this summer for Rico Lewis. He has got 3 years left on his deal over at the Etihad for Manchester City, but they are ready to entertain offers this summer if the right offer did come in. Listen, Rico Lewis, I think, is a fantastic player. He showed glimpses of being a top right back, but also he showed glimpses where he can maybe be a little bit off it. But there's no doubt about it. If he's played week in, week out for City at times, I think he's a top player. So I'd be really happy if we were able to do that. But if you look at the names that we are linked with, the likes of Bayern Munich and Juventus, they're two top sides playing in Champions League this season. So I think we'd probably be facing a little bit of an uphill battle in terms of trying to get his signature. But one maybe to keep an eye on. And as I said before, I'd be really happy if Rico Lewis were to be wearing an Everton shirt and following the footsteps of Jack Grealish from moving down the M62 this summer. But finally now, Sacha Tavolieri, he's reported that Everton and West Ham are monitoring the situation of Yves Bissouma, the Tottenham Hotspur midfielder. He does want to stay at Tottenham Hotspur this summer, but he will be open to a move to Everton if he was forced out by Thomas Frank there. We did an X poll earlier today, and of around 4,200 votes, 73% were in favour, 14% were unsure, and 13% were against. I massively agree with this one. I think Yves Bissouma will be a fantastic addition. If you look at our performance last night at Ellen Road against Leeds, we've got massively overrun by Anton Stack and Altanaka in midfield. We had Dewsbury Hall and Idrissa Gana Gueye pretty much doing all the dirty work in midfield, and Tim Irabunum, of course. But Tim Irabunum, I think, massively needs a loan deal now. So if we were to bring in Yves Bissouma in his place, I think it'd be a fantastic bit of business. But it's just what the fee would be commanded by Spurs would be the next question. But no doubt about it, I think he's a fantastic player, and I do agree with the 73% that were in favour of signing. But that is all for today's news for the 19th of August. Obviously, we're ticking closer now to the end of the summer transfer window, so no doubt about it. I think we do need to add some players between now and the end of that window, but I think we're probably going to see a little bit of movement in terms of right winger this week, which I'm really hoping we do, because it's a position that we massively need to strengthen. But that is all from me today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.